So you booked your first tarot reading. Maybe a friend recommended their reader. Maybe you've been tarot curious for a while and you decided to go for it. Or maybe you just thought, why not? Either way, you're probably feeling some mix of excitement, maybe a little nervous, maybe wondering what's actually going to happen, what you're supposed to say, or whether you're going to get some ominous card that ruins your week. So I gotcha. By the end of this video, you're going to walk into that reading feeling grounded, prepared, and honestly powerful, because that is what this is really all about. So let's get into it. The very first thing I want you to do before you're reading, before you even think about what questions to ask, is get clear on why you're there. What's actually going on in your life right now? What area are you seeking clarity on? Is it a relationship, a career decision, a season of change you're trying to navigate? Something you can't quite name, but know you need to look at? Here's the thing. Vague intentions produce vague readings. And I want to say that again because this is super important. Vague intentions produce wishy-washy, vague readings. If you walk in with a general, I just want to see what comes up attitude, you might get something interesting, but you're leaving a lot on the table. The more focused you are about what you actually want insight on, the more useful that session is going to be. Think of your intention like a compass. Doesn't have to be rigid. You can be absolutely open to surprises, but it sets the direction for the whole conversation. So before you show up, take a few minutes and ask yourself, what do I really want to understand better? What's the thing I keep coming back to? And start there. Okay, now let's talk about questions, because this is where a lot of people unknowingly limit themselves before the reading even begins. The most common mistake first-timers make is coming in with a yes-no question or a list of them. And I completely understand why. When you're stressed about something or really hoping for a particular outcome, your brain naturally goes to, will this work out? Is this person right for me? Am I going to be okay? But here's the problem. Yes or no questions shut down the conversation before it has a chance to go anywhere. Tarot is a reflective tool. It's designed to explore, to open things up, to show you angles and energies and possibilities you might not have considered. A yes or no question basically asks it to do the opposite of what it's good at. So instead, we're going to learn to reframe. If you're thinking, will I get this job? Try asking instead, what do I need to know about pursuing this opportunity right now? If you're wondering, does this person love me? Reframe it to, what energy is present in this relationship and what would serve me most to understand about it? If your question is, am I going to be okay? Which is honestly one of the most human questions there is, try, what do I need to focus on to move forward with confidence? See the difference? You're not asking the cards to predict a fixed outcome. You're asking them to give you something you can actually work with. Before you're reading, I want you to write down 2 or 3 questions in this style. So open-ended, forward-moving, rooted in what you actually want to understand, keeping the power with you. Which actually brings me to something I'll talk about more in a minute. But yeah, write them down physically. We'll come back to that. Now, let's talk about how you show up emotionally, because this one really matters more than people realize. A reading is only as useful as your ability to actually hear it. If you walk in anxious or guarded or secretly hoping that the reader would just confirm what you already want to be true, you're going to filter everything through that lens. You'll dismiss what doesn't fit and overattach to what does, and you'll walk away with half a reading at best. So how do you actually get emotionally ready? First, give yourself a little more time before the reading to decompress. Don't book it right after a stressful meeting or a difficult conversation. If you can, take a walk beforehand, do a few minutes of deep breathing, write in your journal, something that helps you to arrive present instead of scattered. Second, release the need for a specific outcome. I know that's easier said than done, especially if you're going in with something heavy in your heart, but try to hold your questions with a little looseness. You're not there to get a verdict, you're there to get perspective. And third, if something comes up in a reading that makes you uncomfortable, try to meet it with curiosity instead of resistance. Lean into it a little. Ask yourself why it bothers you. Because more often than not, the thing that makes you flinch is exactly where the insight is hiding. You don't have to be perfectly zen walking in, you just have to be willing to actually listen. Now, this is a section I most want you to hear, so stay with me. A lot of people walk into their first tarot reading and hand all their power over to the reader. They sit down, go quiet, and wait. Wait to be told what's happening in their life, what the cards mean for them, what they should do next. They treat the reader like an authority and themselves as a passenger, and I want you to completely flip that dynamic. You're not a passenger in this experience. You're the driver. You are the one in charge. The reader is a guide, a skilled one, hopefully, but they're not an authority in your life. You are. The cards are a mirror. They reflect energy, patterns, possibilities. They're not a verdict, and they're not a rule book. Your intuition is part of this reading too. If something the reader says resonates deeply, trust that. If something doesn't feel right or doesn't apply, you're allowed to say so. You're allowed to push back, ask follow-up questions, or simply set something aside because it doesn't land. That's not disrespecting the process, that's participating in it. Here's a mindset I want you to carry with you. You're someone seeking perspective, not someone waiting to be told their fate. There's a massive difference between those two things. One's passive, the other one is empowered. Tarot at its best is a tool for self-reflection. It can surface things you already know but haven't let yourself look at. It can offer a new frame for something you've been stuck on. It can confirm what your gut has been quietly telling you. But it doesn't get to decide anything. Only you get to do that. You are the master of your own story. So walk in like it. All right, let's get to the practical stuff because being spiritually prepared and being actually prepared are both important. So write your questions down. I mentioned this earlier and I mean it. When you're sitting across from a reader and the energy of the moment hits you, it's shockingly easy to go blank or forget exactly how you wanted to phrase something. So write your 2 or 3 open-ended questions down beforehand and bring them with you. In a notebook, on your phone, on a sticky note, doesn't really matter. Just have them somewhere you can reference. Take notes during your reading. This is probably the most underused piece of advice I can give you. You're not going to remember everything. And if you're super nervous, you might not remember anything. The reader might say something that doesn't fully land in the moment, but becomes incredibly relevant 2 weeks later. And if you didn't write it down, it's gone. Bring a notebook, open a notes app, whatever works for you. Jot down the cards that come up, key phrases, anything that sparks something in you, even if you're not yet sure why. And know your logistics ahead of time. How long is the session? Is it in person or virtual? Does the reader have a particular focus or style? Does the platform you booked through have any guidelines? Handle all of that before the day of so you're not scrambling and show up flustered. And finally, protect the time after your reading. Don't schedule it right before something demanding. Give yourself at least a little window to decompress afterwards, to sit quietly, to let things settle. Some readings are light and fun. Others will move something in you. Either way, you want the space to actually be with the experience instead of immediately rushing off to your next obligation. So here's something nobody tells you. The reading doesn't end when the session does. In a lot of ways, what you do afterwards is actually what makes it valuable. So you're home. You have your notes. Maybe you're feeling reflective. Maybe you're feeling a lot. Here's what you do. Review your notes within the first 48 hours while things are still fresh. Read back through what you wrote and notice what stands out. Sometimes something you barely registered in the moment will jump out at you when you read it back. Then sit with it before you react. Don't make any big decisions the same day as you're reading, especially if it was emotionally activating. Give it a few days. Some things that confused you will clarify on their own. Some things that worried you will settle. Let the information breathe before you do anything with it. Look for themes, not just individual cards or specific predictions. Look at the bigger picture. What kept coming through? What thread ran through the whole reading? That's usually where the most useful insight lives. And take one step in the right direction. Doesn't have to be big. It could be as simple as reaching out to someone, setting a boundary, signing up for something, or carving out time to think more deeply about a particular question. But do something from the reading and let it move you even a little. That's how you make it real and useful. And journal about it. Write down what resonated, what didn't, what you're still turning over, what you want to revisit, and keep an open mind about your blind spots. Your relationship with this reading will evolve over time, and having a record of it is genuinely valuable. I write all mine down. So the goal was never to follow the cards. The goal is to use what surfaced to make it more intentional. And that's it. That's the whole thing. So here's what I want you to take into that reading with you. So curiosity, openness, and self-trust. The cards don't control anything. Your reader doesn't hold the answers to your life. You do. What a good reading does is help you see more clearly. And now that you know how to actually receive that, you're ready. If you found this helpful, drop a comment below. I'd love to know what your biggest question is going in, or if you've already had a reading, what you wish someone else had told you beforehand. So share this with a friend who's been thinking about booking one. And if you're ready to book with us, the link's in the show notes. And if you want more content like this, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. See you next time.